many of you use Google Maps or Waze to plan vacations or get here or whatever? Yeah, a good number of you. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but Google Maps is a phenomenal tool to use with first, second, and third graders. And all you really need is a projector and a computer with the internet. And again, your tech lab can do this. So some of those basic skills in first, second, and third grade are helping the students identify places in their neighborhood. And so it can be a really easy thing to bring up Google Maps and just talk to them about where is our school? And maybe you're releasing butterflies. Oh, we're going to take a walk to Hanson Park. What streets are we going to walk on? How can we tell what the names of the streets are? How many times are we going to cross the street? And then with Google Maps, you could even drag a little guy on the screen and say to the kids, hey, let's take a look at what does our school look like. They love doing that. And it can help you talk to the kids about technology. Do moms and dads use this at home? And do you think these pictures were taken? Do you think Google is looking at our school with a camera? Well, let's take a look at the picture. Oh my gosh, it's a white tree. Is our tree white today? What's it look like? What season do you think the picture was taken in? And then another thing that kids just get a kick out of is going to the satellite view in Google Earth and taking that bird's eye look at the school. And again, you can have those conversations about where do you think in the building our school is? Let's take a look at the parking lot. Is that how our parking lot looks today? So Google Maps can actually be a really cool tool to use with the kids in a number of different ways. Another tool that exists is something called Google Earth. If you've never heard of it before, it works on laptops and desktops only, but it's spinning, and you can fly places, and the kids really get into it. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like if you've never seen it before. It's more like a real live globe. And you could use this on an interactive whiteboard. I mean, they get a kick out of spinning it around. Or you could just do it like I'm doing right now as a teacher-directed lesson. With Google Earth, you can also bookmark places. So, for instance, today, we're at the Carney Center. We can go take a trip over to the Carney Center and see what it looks like. And so you get that zooming in. And you could zoom in even closer, take a look at details, take a look at landforms, what's located near here. So if you're talking about what does the rest of our country look like? And maybe a child says, oh, I went over to Mount Rushmore this summer. And kids say, what's Mount Rushmore? Well, let's go fly over there. And so you can type it in search, or you can bookmark it like I did. And now here we are flying over to Mount Rushmore. We can take a good close look at how it looks and tilt the screen around. I mean, it can be interesting for a creative writing project, talking about, what I imagined it would be like if I visited Mount Rushmore. There's a lot of ways that you could use Google Earth to give just a different feel to it. And sometimes I would say to the kids, let's take a trip. And one of the ways that you could take a trip with Google Earth is that there's a website that's called Google Lit Trips. With Google Lit Trips, they actually have books that they save place marks for. I have Make Way for Ducklings up, and I'm going to say Mother Duck started at the public gardens. So let's take a look at what the public gardens, and this little website builds these for you. So here we are at the public garden. We can take a look at what's going on there. But then we could also fly to the public garden, see what it looks like in Google Earth. So here we go. You could fly from the school, or you could fly from wherever you are. And what they'll do is they'll build paths. So if you've not read Make Way for Ducklings in a while, Mother Duck's trying to figure out where to have her babies, and they go from the public gardens to the steakhouse to the Charles River. And then they take this walk along a couple of main roads in the book. And Mother Duck has police officers holding back the traffic. And so you can go look in Google Earth and compare the pictures in the book. What did it look like when Mother Duck walked down the street with her babies? And what does it look like now? And they were talking about in the book, there's a barber shop. Well, let's go look at the barber shop. Oh my gosh, the barber shop's a 7-Eleven now. So it's just a really neat way to pull what's going on in a book with what goes on in real life. The name of that website is Google Lit Trips. It's not a Google project. It's just teachers who build these trips up. So this is another way you can bring some different kind of interest. And I think at the first, second, third grade level, there's probably about 20 or 30 books that they've done this for. You can take your kids on virtual tours. In the lower grade curriculum for social studies, it talks about showing examples of Norman Rockwell pictures and showing examples of Grandma Moses pictures. You might have a textbook that has one picture. Well, if you take them on a virtual tour, you could show them multiple pictures and talk about what was going on in the pictures. And depending on what you're doing, maybe even your art teacher would like to then have them draw in the style of this artist. So virtual tours are a great way to use the internet with your students. Some of you could possibly use Skype and Google Hangouts and Ufu to talk to friends. But these can be tools that you can use in the classroom as well. I don't know if you know it exists, but there's a number of authors who are happy to Skype into your classroom for free for 15 minutes. Your kids can have a conversation with an author. The benefits of this, again, with the integration technology map is how do we behave in online spaces? So before you have that conversation, talking to the kids about, you're inviting this author. It's like she's here in real life. How do we behave when a real guest comes? How are we going to behave when she's on the computer talking to us? You might also want to Skype an expert. Maybe you're talking about something in science about life. And maybe you find somebody at Rutgers is willing to Skype in and talk about the animals they have on site. Another thing that you can do is they have these things called mystery Skype calls. And this could work, this works maybe better with third grade, but I wouldn't be surprised if first and second graders could do something similar. In a mystery Skype call, you have a Skype call between yourself and another classroom. It could actually be in your same building if you wanted it to be. But in a traditional mystery Skype call, you find a teacher somewhere in the United States who has a class the same age group, and you and your kids do 20 questions with that other class to try to figure out where in the world they live. It starts out with things like, are you in the United States? Yes, I am. Does your class's state touch the ocean? No, it doesn't. And so the kids spend time back and forth until they figure out where the other class is. Some schools like to do mystery saint Skypes. So your class thinks of a saint, the other class thinks of a saint, and again, same thing. Is your saint a man or a woman? Did your saint live before 1900? And again, back and forth until they figure out who it is. I'm in the process of trying to find a way to gather Catholic school educators across the U.S. who are interested in doing this. It may take me until next year, but I'm going to try to see if we can find a way to have some Skype partners to do this with. But in the meanwhile, you might want to find a class in the building even to do a mystery saint or something with. One of the easiest ways that you can help your students learn is by helping them think of moments where they're proud of. Almost every one of our schools at this point has a Facebook page, and a lot of them have Twitter pages. And I love spending time looking at the Facebook feeds and the Twitter feeds, because I can see what your students are learning, what they're doing. It helps me think of different connections I can make for your tech integration specialists with technology. Sometimes I look at them and I say to myself, oh my gosh, they looked like they were having so much fun. I wonder what they were learning. I wonder what they were thinking. And I bet their parents are thinking some of the same things too. I would like to suggest that one of the easiest things you could do as a teacher is talk to the kids about when are you proud about what you learned. If you have an iPad in the classroom, you could tell the kids, you know what, when you find you're proud of something, tell Mrs. Oro, I'll give you the iPad and you take a picture. And then you come to me and you tell me a sentence or two. What were you doing and why are you so proud of that? All you have to do is send that over to your principal or whoever takes care of your Facebook page and they'll post it. Instead of these students, parents just seeing this picture, they may get some extra sentences that say, I'm so proud because we were taking apart plants and I found out where the roots were. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. But they're showing that vocabulary that they're learning. They're seeing the content that they're learning. If you don't have iPads, most of us have a cell phone with a camera built in. Use your cell phone and take a picture. Let the kids hold the camera for one another. But this is a really nice, easy way to bring those technology skills of how do we share and handle equipment, how do we showcase what we're learning, right into your classroom.